see each of us on the screen individually. Please announce yourself by name when speaking, and if you want to refer to anything in the officer's report, can you first clearly state the relevant page and number and paragraph number, and give us time to everybody to get to that particular page. And if you should hear the fire alarm go off, it means the wife has burnt the dinner. Right. Sonia, let me know when the live stream is working.
Councillor Ward has got his hand up.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Chairman. I've now put my video on so members of the public can see me. Do you require all members to be visible, please?
Perhaps you'll guide me on that, Sonia. I believe I'm correct in saying the members have to be heard and can be heard, but not necessarily have the video on. But I think it would be best if the video was on.
That's absolutely correct, Chairman.
Thank you. So are we on live stream, Sonia?
Yes.
Okay, right. Welcome to the Rochford District Council's remote meeting of the Investment Board, and welcome to anyone watching via the live stream. Item number 1 on the agenda is apologies. Do we have any apologies, Sonia?
No, everyone's present, Chairman.
Okay, then on that basis, I assume that there are no substitute members.
There are none.
Okay. Non-members attending. Sonia, could you read out the names of those non-members attending?
Certainly. We have Councillor Stanley.
Yeah.
Sonia, you're a little on the quiet side, Sonia. You're having difficulty hearing.
We have Councillor Stanley, Councillor Milne, and Councillor Mrs. Rowe.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, the minutes of the meeting held on the 16th of July 2020. The members in agreement that the minute notes are can I put it this way around, that if any member has an objection to that, please signify. If not, I'll take it that everybody's happy with them. I see no raised hands, so on that basis, I take it that the minutes are accepted. Item 5, receive declarations of interest. Members, are there any declarations of interest? Sonia, I'm not sure whether I need to declare interest as ward councillor for the area of Cherry Orchard Park.
No, that's fine, Chairman.
Okay, which moves us swiftly on to item number 6, and Cherry Orchard, maximising the potential of Cherry Orchard Jubilee Country Park. Mr. Mark Houghton, Assistant Director of Place and Environment, will now introduce the report. Marcus, over to you.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, members. I shall be brief. The report summarises and seeks approval for the appended master plan, which outlines a vision for Cherry Orchard Country Park. The master plan was developed in consultation with the Associated Member Working Group and the Friends Group, and was drawn up by Alan Scott, who are specialists in landscape architecture and design, and tend to do a lot of these sort of public place design work that you may see, sort of award-winning stuff around the country. So they come with good credentials. The master plan is a visual, map-based interpretation of the aims and objectives of the council's intent to develop the park. It identifies 6 broad zones within the park, as you can find within the summary of the report at 3.8. Key concepts within the plan are the improvements of access, in particular footpaths linking Rayleigh through to the business park, the development of a visitor hub at the eastern end of the park, and the enhancement of biodiversity across the site, particularly around the lake and woodland areas. Should members be minded to approve the report? It's envisaged that the working group will move the master plan forward, looking at particular aspects of it and identifying opportunities as they come forward to seek to sort of add some flesh to the bones, so to speak. Remember, that concludes my brief summary of the sort of outline of the master plan. I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.
Come off mute, it works better. Members Marcus Houghton and Adam Aldridge are both quite happy to take questions. Are there any questions from members? I see Councillor Ward has put his hand up. Councillor Ward.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Yes, I would like to know who the membership of that working party are, please.
Thank you. You're going to test my memory now, so I apologise if I do miss anyone off. It was a while back since we sort of formed this. So Councillor Eaves, Councillor Gooding, I believe, was on there as well. I'm looking to see if I may require some help. Councillor Williams was chair of the meeting group. We also had Councillor Tony Carter on the group, and I believe we had Councillor Laureen Shaw. Thank you.
Marcus, can I just say we had 2 people from the Friends of Cherry Orchard Park involved as well?
Sorry, thank you. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Yes, so with members aside, yes, we had two representatives from there. One was the chair of the group, who's Penny, and the other one was Adam. You may have to help me out here on the names of the two. I think it's the secretary of the Friends group. Thank you.
Great.
Councillor Arnew, are you smoking?
No, I'm not. I'm sitting in front of the fire.
Ah, okay, all right. We suspected you might be smoking, but it just might be hot where you are then. Okay. Okay. Councillor Sperrin, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Chairman. Marcus, I've read the master plan, one thing and another. At what stage, if ever, can we go down the road of perhaps introducing a ranger of some description into the master plan, other than just structural and landscaping issues? Is that ever going to be part of the master plan? Does it become part of the master plan?
I think the short answer, I wouldn't say it's part of the master plan as such, because technically it's a concept plan, Councillor Sperring. So how it's delivered is the detail. So it may be that we choose to have a ranger do that, or it could be that you would ask volunteers to undertake that. There's a range of ways in which it could be done. So this is just a conceptual plan to decide. You would expect there to be a further stage beyond this. It starts to look, if you like, at how you actually deliver the detail.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, members? Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'd just like to thank AD Marcus Houghton and the members of the working group, most helpful throughout. Thank you very much.
Any other questions, members? Anybody else want to come in? Okay, I see no further hands. Members, there are 2 recommendations set out on page 6.4. Paragraph 6.1 of the report. I'll read them through. One, that the Cherry Orchard Jubilee the Cherry Orchard Jubilee Country Park Master Plan be approved. And 2, that member working group seeks to explore and identify opportunities that can deliver against the action set out within the master plan. Members, are you happy to vote on these 2 recommendations together? I will assume that if nobody puts up their hand, that is acceptable. Okay, I see no hands. Okay, voting will be done by a roll call of names. When Sonia calls out your name, please indicate if you wish to have a recorded vote, and then whether you are voted for, against, or for or against the recommendation, or you wish to abstain. Sonia, over to you.
Councillor FD, please.
No recorded vote and 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Eves.
A recorded vote and 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mrs Gooding.
No recorded vote and for the motion. Thank you.
Sonia, you're quite quiet again.
Okay. Councillor Ioannou.
No recorded votes and 4.
Councillor Lucas Gill.
No recorded vote and 4.
Councillor Newport.
No recorded vote and 4.
Councillor Mrs Shaw.
No recorded vote and for the recommendation.
Councillor Sperring.
Muted.
Councillor Sperring.
Sorry, I'm having problems with this microphone this evening. No recorded vote and 4, Sonia.
Thank you. Councillor Steptoe.
No recorded vote and 4.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Sonia. No recorded vote and 4.
Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Sonia. No recorded vote and for both recommendations. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
No recorded vote and for the recommendation.
And Councillor Wotton.
Thank you, Sonia. No recorded vote and 4 the recommendations.
Thank you. That's unanimous, Chairman.
Thank you, members. That's unanimous. We'll move on to next item. Okay. Item 7. Council's local authority training companies. The report will be introduced by Naomi Lucas, Assistant Director of Resources. Naomi, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. So this report sets out the financial position of the local authorities trading companies, otherwise known as the LATCOs. Members will be aware that these were established in 2016, and there's 3 separate kind of arms of their company. So there's the holding company, Green Gateway Trading Limited, which is just the holding company. There's Green Gateway Trading Development, which is a subsidiary of that holding company, which is not currently trading. And there is Green Gateway Trading Grounds Maintenance Limited, which again is a subsidiary of their holding company, which is currently trading under their Public Contracts Regulations Act 2015. So the council is the 100% shareholder of all of these companies, and as such it is required to approve the accounts of these companies. So Investment Board tonight is asked to consider the accounts and the annual report of the directors, and then refer that on to full council for approval. So I was just going to summarise at a high level the position of those trading companies. So the holding company has had no financial transactions during this year. It maintains net assets of just £1. And similarly, the trading company, the development arm, again, has not had any transactions during the financial year, and again has net assets of £1. So the main accounts which you're asked to consider tonight are the grounds maintenance company, of which the directors of the company are all on this call tonight. So I will be available to answer any questions that you may have in terms of the detail of those accounts. But in summary, they have managed to achieve a small net profit of just under £4,000, so £3,603. And those accounts have been prepared on behalf of the council by Ventums and also audited. So they have been through a proper due diligence process. So the company itself is now in the 4th year of trading, and the contracts that it has with the council is due to expire on the 5th of December of the next year. So under the terms in which the company operates with the council, it is limited in terms of the other contracts that it can take on from the private sector. So under the terms of the TECL agreement that it operates under, it can't take on additional contracts to a value of greater than 20% of the company's turnover. So it does mean that the company is basically dependent on the council's main contract, which, as I said, is due to expire the next financial year unless it's renewed. So given that date is coming up fairly soon, the executive agreed in September that they would commission a piece of work by the council with an external consultant to look at future options for delivery of both the grounds maintenance and the street cleansing services. And that will enable the council to determine whether it wishes GGT grounds maintenance to continue the contract beyond that date, or whether it wishes to look at alternative options for delivery of that service. So that will obviously be a key sort of determinant of the future of the company. So further to that, the report just also notes that obviously with the impending retirement of the managing director of the council, who is also the director of Green Gateway Trading Limited, there will have to be an alternative put in place to fulfil that role. And it's proposed that that will be the current strategic director, Angela Hutchins, who will fulfil that going forward. So that's probably all I'm going to say at this point. Obviously, there's a few recommendations to note within the report, but if members do, as I say, have any particular questions, either around the accounts for the company or the actual director's report, which is appended as a confidential appendix, then I'll take direction from the chair, but I believe we might have to go into P&C if they want to be discussed in more detail. Thank you, Chair.
Members, we do have the opportunity to call on Matt Harwood-White and Dawn Tribe to answer questions at a higher level. Do you wish me to move the meeting into private and confidential? If anybody's against that, can you put your hand up? If not, I take it that we don't need to go into private and confidential. Councillor Eaves, did you want to move into private and confidential?
I'm not sure. If I ask a question, I'm not sure whether it would be P&C or not. Let me make it woolly. Green Gateway development, I don't know the purpose.
Okay. Perhaps I can get some advice on that from, I think we can answer that one. Yes, I think you can answer that outside of the private confidential, Naomi.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. When the company structure was originally set up, obviously that was slightly before my time, but I believe it was just the most sort of efficient and effective way to set up the company structure at that time, given that we didn't know whether there would be future kind of trading opportunities or arms that we wish to pursue. So essentially another subsidiary sort of shell was set up just with the just to keep the options open in terms of whether the council would want to pursue a separate sort of trading arm in future. As it happens, that hasn't been pursued at this time, so it's sort of sitting there dormant. But it hasn't, yeah. So it's just been sitting there as a shell company, really, without any trading activity.
Okay.
Sorry, Naomi, can I just ask through the chair?
Yes, please do, Councillor Rees.
There's nothing being thought of down that line at the moment then? Can I just confirm that?
Yeah, there's nothing being actively pursued on that at the moment, no.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Councillor Ward, is it a question outside of P&C?
Yes, yeah, it is indeed.
Councillor Ward, then.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, I assume that the fees paid to Company House on those are paid normally through the accounts. Is that correct? Because you're a limited company, yes?
Yeah, so any transactions relating to the company would go through the accounts of the company. Yeah.
No, I mean Company's House, registered at Company's House.
Yes, they're all of the accounts are registered at Company's House. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Wootton, again, is it a question that doesn't require P&C?
Absolutely, it is, Chairman. Thank you very much indeed. No problem. My question really relates to the governance of Green Gateway Trading Limited. I note that there is one sole director, and I just wonder, in terms of company structure, whether or not it would be wise actually to have two company directors. I would have thought that would be a better governance process, but perhaps I could have advice on that, please, Chairman.
Amy, do you want to answer that?
If I may, I might refer to Angela Law as the monitoring officer on this one, but yeah, I understand that there's only a requirement to have one director, and I think just due to the sort of limited resources and number of people we've got available to fulfil the roles across the different functions of the trading company, I think it's been more operationally viable to just have the one director, but that's obviously something that we could potentially consider, but I'll refer to Angela Law on that point.
Angela Law, did you want to come in on that point?
Chairman, yes, Ms Lucas is correct. There's only a requirement for one director, but it is something we can consider outside of this meeting, should the leader wish us to.
Chairman, if I may come back.
Yes, certainly, Councillor Wootton.
I would certainly like, I believe it is good governance, good practice to actually have more than one, especially in the situation as a local authority, and certainly with your permission, Chairman, I would like us to explore that opportunity, please.
Certainly, I don't personally have a problem with that. Perhaps we can do that offline and then report back to the investment board on the options there.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Wilson. Again, is it a question outside that remains outside P&C? Yeah, I'm not going to refer to the exempt matters at all. Just following up from Section 151 officer, in the report we say that there was a £3,600 profit. What was expected? That's my first question. Second one was what's our anticipated profit for the following year? And then finally, I have to say that your report sounded quite gloomy about the prospects for the company. But would it ever be brought back in-house? Naomi, do you want to come back to that?
Yeah, so the company was only ever sort of set up to achieve a small profit, really, primarily because the main advantage of having the trading company is actually to deliver the operational sort of cost saving to the council, so that most of the benefit of the company is actually being delivered through the operational saving on the contract itself. Obviously, any profits that the trading company makes are taxable profits, so yeah, it's not necessarily in the council's advantage for it to be making a huge profit in any case. But in terms of the future options of the company, we obviously haven't made any decisions at this point in time. But as I said, the executive has commissioned this piece of work to look at all options for delivery. I wouldn't necessarily say it's gloomy, but I think we have to obviously consider all of our options for delivery in light of our financial position, and look at which ones would deliver best value for money for the council. So I think that piece of work needs to be completed and reviewed, and a decision made following that review. If if you wanted to delve any more into the actual financial position of the company, I think because the accounts themselves are in P&C, we might have to go into exempt.
Thanks, Chair. I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go into it, but I suppose hypothetically, if the company ceased to exist, what would happen to the assets of it? Would they go back to the council?
So the council is the 100% shareholder of the company. So, I mean, we would obviously take the appropriate advice in terms of how the company itself, if it was to be wound down, would be wound down, but the assets would obviously have to be liquidated and, as you say, returned to the shareholder if appropriate, but we would take financial advice at that point in time.
Angela Hutchins, I've seen your hand pop up and then disappear and then pop up again several times. I'm assuming you want to come in on this point.
Yes, please, Chair, if I may. If it assists members to remember that a local authority trading company established under Regulation 12 of the Public Contracts Regulations 2015 means that the only business which this company can transact up to 80% of its net annual turnover amortised over a 3-year period is that of the council itself. So it's not comparing it to a private limited company that's trading on the open market. It was set up primarily to deliver the grounds maintenance contracts on behalf of the council, and it has delivered a saving in respect of that. It's ongoing work, and the business case that is covered more in the chairman's annual report describes the future of the company and links, as Naomi has said, in relation to its future use. So it's not that it's a gloomy picture or that it's a relatively small margin. It's doing what we set it up to do.
Councillor Ward, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Chairman. I think it's worth reminding ourselves, to those councillors who are reasonably new, to the fact that Green Gateway was set up realistically after the failure of 2 other companies that were service providers. And we decided to go down the road of looking at some kind of self-provision. And we came up with this idea of a LATCO, which would serve the purposes. So I think it's important just to bear in mind that it was under those circumstances of 2 companies that failed to deliver services that this was actually formed. Thank you.
Just before I go to you, Councillor Newport, Matt Harwood-White, did you want to come in?
Not at this point, thank you, Chairman. I didn't have my hand raised.
That's okay. I had a message that you might want to come in. Okay, Councillor Newport, again, provided it's not matter under P&C.
Thank you, Chairman. What happens in to a LATCO in the event of a combined authority or council merger, and what would happen to those within the contracts that you provide external services to? Would there be any penalties?
Naomi, did you want to come on that?
I won't profess to be an expert in terms of all the mechanics of how sort of contracts would transfer under any change of governance arrangement, but there is protocols for that, and contracts can be novated to new governance arrangements where it's required. So, for example, where the NHS is, functions of the NHS have transferred into county, for example, public health, and the contracts associated with that get novated over. Obviously, there is some legal work around unpicking that. In terms of financial penalties, that's not the way we've set up the company, so there's no financial penalties or anything within the contract at the moment. So I don't really foresee that being a particular issue in this case. But again, I might refer back to either Angela or Angela Hutchinson in terms of the specifics if you need anything more than that. Thank you.
Angela Hutchins, did you want to come in on that point?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. It's important to remember, members, that a company has legal personality of itself, so it exists in law separate and distinct from its shareholders. So the council is a 100% shareholder of all of these companies. In the event that the council ceased to exist because of local government reorganisation, there would be a sale transfer of those shares from Rochford District Council to the successor body, and the company would continue unless and until the shareholders agreed to dissolve the company. In relation to contracts that were in operation or owned by the company at the point at which it was transferred, Naomi's absolutely right, those contracts would novate to the successor body.
Okay. Thank you, Angela. Councillor Mike Lucas-Gill.
Thank you, Chairman. Angela Hutchings, did you say just now that for the first 3 years, the council had to do at least 80%, the trading company, sorry, had to do at least 80% work for the council before they could take on other work?
No, it's not time limited. It's entirely the raison d'etre of the company itself, Councillor Lucas-Gill. The company at no point in its lifetime can do work for another authority other than Rochford District Council, which exceeds more than 20% of its annual turnover amortised over a 3-year period. So it's the net turnover value of the company which determines its what that threshold will be. And the reason for that is because Regulation 12 allows Rochford District Council to award a contract directly to Green Gateway GM Limited without going through a procurement process. And so it's important to abide by the obligations under Regulation 12 of the Public Contracts Regulations 2015.
Okay, thank you. Could I just come back, Chairman?
Yeah, please do.
When this company was proposed to be set up, I did say, was it possible that they could do work for the public, you know, like hedge cutting and such like? Would that be another stream of income?
No, it's a local authority trading company, Councillor Lucas-Gill. That's why I say it's not the same as any other private limited company. It can only work for public bodies. It cannot work for private companies or private individuals.
Well, that's a bad restriction then, isn't it?
It's the quid pro quo of not having to go through a procurement process.
Thank you.
Is it possible for that they could work for a charitable organisation?
No, because a charitable organisation is not a public body.
Just clarify. Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't see any other hands, but can I just clarify that there is none of the members wish to go into the P&C to ask those questions under P&C? I see no hands requesting that. Okay, let's move on then. Right, bear with me, let me just confirm my notes. Okay, members. Paragraph 10.1 on page 7.3, there are 3 recommendations. Members, the first recommendation is for noting. So can I take that particular item first, that the annual report of the directors of Green Gateway GM Limited, set out in exempt appendix A, be noted. Is members happy with that?
Agreed, Chairman.
Agreed, Chairman.
Agreed.
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 Excuse me, members. Do apologize. Okay. Recommendation 2, Angela Hutchins be appointed as replacement director for Sean Scutton in Green Gateway Trading Limited. And recommendation 3, which is recommending to the council that the accounts of the LATCO for the financial year 2019-20, set out in Exempt Appendix B, be approved. Members, are you happy to vote on these 2 recommendations together? If there is anybody that does not wish to do that, please raise your hand. Okay, members, I'll take it that you are happy for that to be dealt with as both items together. Voting will be done a roll call of names. When Sonia calls out your name, please indicate if you wish to have a recorded vote and whether you are voting for or against the recommendation or you wish to abstain. Sonia, over to you.
Thank you. Councillor FD.
No recorded vote and for the recommendations. Thank you.
Councillor Eves.
No recorded vote and for. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mrs Gooding.
No recorded vote and for both recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ioannou.
No recorded vote and for both recommendations.
Councillor Lucas Gill.
No recorded vote and for both.
Councillor Newport.
No recorded vote and for.
Councillor Mrs Shaw.
No recorded vote for both recommendations. Thank you, Sonia.
Councillor Sperring.
No recorded vote and for the recommendations.
Councillor Steptoe.
No recorded vote and for the recommendations.
Councillor Ward.
No and for, Sonia. Thank you.
Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Sonia. No and for both recommendations.
Councillor Wilson.
No and for, thanks.
And Councillor Wootton.
Thank you, Sonia. No and for the recommendations.
Chairman, that's unanimous.
Okay, many thanks, members. That's unanimous return. Members, that concludes the business for the meeting. Thank everybody for attending, and please stay safe in these unpredictable times. Good night, everybody. Nice to see you all.
Good night.